Over the last 5 years, the league has done a tremendous job of, I think, increasing player safety, the neurological scans, the defenseless player penalties for hits to the head, changing the rules on spearing. This is not a battle between us and the league. I do think that the help of Dr. Mayer on the league's TBI committee has been important. At the same time, I don't have the type of job where I can just rest on status quo. The thought on my mind when we come to work every day here is the protection of our players. It's the last thought when we leave the building. We know that the league collects a tremendous amount of medical information on our players every year. I don't have that medical information. So you either believe in a system where we can use all of the medical information that's collected for the players and use it to come up with better, safer ways not only to deal with their exposure to injury on the field, but also to improve their lives off the field, and maybe even use some of that information to benefit a wider audience of people in our country and in our world who could benefit from the use of that medical information. I happen to think that's the right way. This is our opportunity. I mean, at times I think we get sucked into this, let's just try to figure out what side of the battle this is and how this is going to increase the leverage for one person over another. This is not what this is about. Where we are, I can only push us on this side of the table. And I will push us hard to get this right. We will be measured. All of us are going to be measured about how we deal with this issue.
Let's get the people who disagree most vituperatively, and I don't want vituperation, but I want people to be able to honestly state their opinion and say, what can we do to prevent injuries? What can we do to manage injuries and diagnose them on the sideline? I mean, let's be clear, there's nothing good about concussions. The question is, how bad is it, and how do we prevent it in the first place? So to your point, I think that there have been some real changes. We feel good about that. I think there's been changes in helmet technology. We feel good about that, but we'd like to see that more broadly applied to NFL players, so they're all wearing safe helmets. We'd like to see the ability to, on how they're managed both on the sideline in the immediate post-concussive phase and over the course of the next few days is improved. We'd like to see return to play decisions, although they have been improved. There's no question in my mind about that. Through this dialogue, we'd like to see that improved as well in terms of figuring out when do the lights go back on and you're good to go and not be at further risk for future concussions. So it's an ongoing battle, not between us and the NFL, but between what we know and what we don't know in order to protect our players.
Our job is not only to provide the information, but I want our players to respond to the right information. But at the same time, isn't part of the problem not having aggregate medical data? So, how about this? If we can all reach an agreement, we'll all work together to make sure the players get the right information and respond to the right information. If everybody agrees that, hey, why don't you provide the right information?